Angie.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Sure. What an awful morning. It wouldn't connect, and then I didn't have sound, and anyway. But I'm here.
It's all good. And thank you for joining us. Hello, everyone. We've got Angie, who's going to give us a beautiful presentation on Russia. Without wasting any more time, Angie, do you want to introduce yourself and then go straight ahead into the training? I'm going to make you host so long.
I've done it, Phil.
Oh, you've done it. Okay, thank you.
Super duper. Right, so I'll introduce myself, but then also, so we have Norma Mayer with us today. Morning, Norma. So Norma's actually going to start off with the training this morning, and then I'm going to chip in. We've also got Vitaly from Moscow. He's actually in country in Moscow. So Dobry вечер.
Dobry вечер. Hello, everybody.
And then, of course, welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the Russian training. So what I will do is, if I just let Norma introduce herself, then I'm just going to get the presentation up while we do that. So over to you, Norma. I think you're on mute, Norma.
Yeah, just unmute.
Share screen.
You know, yes, I won't say it, but yes, I am the oldest person in the room. Right, thank you for that. Can I have a show of hands of who has been to Russia? Or how do you do that? Can you wave or something? Who's this one? It says
I've been to Russia. I'm not sure if anybody else has been to Russia. Anybody else in the room been?
Because it just helps to know who, if I don't want to be talking about stuff that you all know. So yeah.
No, it seems like I'm the only one. So Norma, nobody's been.
Okay, good. Well, why Russia for South Africans? Number one, you don't need a visa, right? Which makes life much easier. So no visa for South Africans and no time zone. And I think your airlift is very easy via the Middle East. I don't think you have to zigzag at all. I think you just go straight up and straight down on either Emirates or Qatar. Don't know what Etihad's schedules are. So access is easy. South Africans don't need a visa. And one other very important thing is that the ruble, sadly, for Vitaly is very, very weak and has been weak now for quite a long time. So it's a reasonably priced destination for South Africans because, that's always a big pain, isn't it? So there we are. That is our backdrop, which is, that's Red Square. That's the Kremlin on the left, and it's the St. Basil's Cathedral on the right. So how much time have we got? An hour?
Yes, thank you, an hour.
So what I'd like to do, if that's okay with you, we'll just go through with a bit of a background, seeing that, you don't really know the destination. We want to try and make it interesting for you to sell. And then we can go through the individual packages that have been loaded on your site. So this is Russia. And I'd love to ask questions, but I realize that with the time zone, with the muting and all of that, it's difficult. It's from the most western point right across to the most eastern point is 11 time zones. I mean, if you can get your head around that, it's just the vastness of the country. A lot of people don't realize how huge it is. And Vitaly is on standby to book whatever your client wants. But it's impossible for us to go in for the first time and say, well, you can do this in Siberia, you can do this in Lake Baikal, or you can go to Kamchatka, or you can go, it's too much. So we really have centered on the two main attractions on the western side. So there you go. You've got a little bit of a background there. Moscow is the capital, population of 144 million. It's a ruble, and there we have that. And we have the major mountain ranges. In fact, we did take 13 South Africans on a mountain climbing trip, probably about 6 years ago, to Mount Elbrus. So, you know, when I don't say it flippantly, if you've got clients who want to do something more exciting, you know, and drive on 4x4s over Lake Baikal, South Africans are intrepid. They're adventurous. They're much more adventurous than the Brits, to whom we also sell Russia. So, you know, just be aware that we're not constrained to the packages. It's literally just a taster, and for everybody in South Africa to know, the Thompsons knows Russia. And then we've got the world's largest lake and the deepest lake. So Ladoga is up near St. Petersburg, and Lake Baikal is in Siberia. I can't point these things out on the screen. Right, so what's the climate, and when should you go? I think South Africans quite fancy winter because you don't see much snow. I think you had quite a lot of snow last year. So the winter started now already with the first snow in Moscow and St. Petersburg, and it stays until early April. Average winter temperatures -10. So there you've got St. Petersburg, summer 20 to 30, and Moscow to 37. I have to say it's pretty uncomfortable in the heat, but for South Africans, again, I don't think the heat's going to frighten them. So yeah, it's hot. It's very, very much 4 seasons. And Sochi, which is down the south, has very high temperatures in summer, but then of course it also has the mountains nearby for skiing. Siberia, well, there you go. It's just vast and just phenomenal. And I think if you go to Russia, you really probably want to go to Siberia. I did the Siberian train. I did the luxury one. I left Beijing and then traveled through Mongolia and then via Lake Baikal and all the way across through Novgorod, Yekaterinburg, Kazan, and to Moscow. It took 9 days. And it's quite incredible. You wake up every morning on the train, you think, where am I? Oh, I'm in Siberia. And you do that for 5 days. Oh, where am I? I'm in Siberia. It's quite something. And that is also a trip if you have clients who want to do it. It's a sort of a bucket list trip. So you might have people who would like to do that. So the normal train is just a train, which is like the Trans-Karoo, and you can get on and get off wherever you want to, but you know, we have to book it specifically for where you want to go. You have to plan it. And it's just a bog standard train with the big samovar in the corridor where you can make as much tea as you like. And wherever you pull into a station, people come and sell stuff through the windows. I mean, it's quite an experience. And then there's the luxury train, which has literally everything included. It's not Rovos or Blue Train, but it's pretty amazing. Very gilt, the dining room and so on, and they have violinists playing, and it's very imperial. It's called the Imperial Russian Train, and wherever you stop, they do a history tour and all meals included. It's quite amazing. So just bear that in mind. If you have people who want to do that, we can do that. Thanks, Andrew. We'll go on to the next one. Oh, there we have it again. Okay, so we're going to focus, as I said, on Moscow and St. Petersburg. The access to each city, the main attractions, the core hotel product, and the escorted tours in each city, and the trains connecting the two cities. So that's what we're going to focus on today, now that you've seen what a little bit of that obviously is. These are your packages. You've got Essential, the Moscow city, which is 4 nights, and Essential St. Petersburg, 4 nights. Then you've got the package of the two together, with a train that's an overnight train, and then the next one, it's the Sapsan train, which is just a 4-hour. It takes 4 hours from Moscow to St. Petersburg. It's the express. The other one is an overnight train. And then the Golden Ring tour, which is a 9-night package. I mean, that is really getting outside of Moscow and exploring these villages that date back to the 10th, 11th centuries. Amazing, amazing history. So there's Moscow, Moskva, and it has the river through it. the places that are, of course, that jump up at you is the Red Square with St. Basil's Cathedral, got the Bolshoi Theatre, the Bulgakov Museum, Old Arbat. Now, Arbat was one of the original areas of Moscow, and that's one of the hotels that you're using, which is the Arbat House Hotel. So it's all very, very walkable. The great thing about Moscow, a bit like London, it's all walkable, it's all flat, it's fantastic. You can go up to the hill south of Gorky Park here, you can see, then it goes up to the hill and to the university, and with magnificent views over the city. So there we go, 13 million people. I think that's it. It's the largest city on the European continent. Yeah. The metro dates back to the 1930s. It was copied from the London metro, but it was vastly, vastly improved on. So that is a trip, a 2-hour trip that is an absolute must for anybody who goes to Moscow. The actual stations are just gorgeous, but I think we get to that later hand. So there we are. That's the little bit we're doing. This is the tube map. And at the bottom right, that's Domodedovo Airport. All the BA flights go into Domodedovo. And then on the exact opposite side, northwest, is Sheremetyevo, which is the hub for Aeroflot. So you can see Andrew's made notes there on the right. I think you'll be using DME mostly if you're going to be using Turkish or Emirates. I'm thinking you probably won't be coming via London. It doesn't seem to make sense. And then there's Vnukovo, which is on the left, on the south west. That is more domestic carrier. And like a regional airport. So you just need to worry about DME and SVO. And the next one tells you Vnukovo, so I'm going ahead of myself. And they all have very, very good access. So Domodedovo, you either go by road, biggest pain in the butt because it can literally take 3 hours. It's just not worth it. The Aero Express train is beautifully signposted. It's an express service, like, you know, the Gatwick Express, like the Heathrow to Paddington Express, 40 to 50 minutes, and it goes to Moscow Pavletsky station, and then we arrange for your clients to be met there. And they're met on the platform, just as you come off the platform, and they'll have their name. So it's much, much easier. If they're not comfortable with that, we send the guide to the airport to meet them off the flight and guide them onto the train and all the way into town. So again, it's just what people feel comfortable with. Sheremetyevo, same thing again. It's not as bad, the traffic, as Domodedovo. And that train goes to Belaruskaya. Belaruskaya is a little bit more central to Pavletsky. Would you say, Vitaly, do you agree? You're on mute.
Yes, I'm agree.
Yeah.
That's true. The Belaruski station is almost the center.
Yeah, because it's in Tverskaya, at the top of Tverskaya.
Exactly, it's on Tverskaya Street, the main street.
Yeah, so Tverskaya is like Oxford Street, or, you know, the mile. So if you come out and you just keep walking, you'll hit Red Square. Yeah, so yeah. Yeah. Cool. So that's what Moscow looks like. It's the circles within the circles, and that's how the city developed. It was founded in 1147. I'll probably say something a little bit controversial here about St. Petersburg and Moscow. It's a bit like Joburg, Cape Town, you know, there's this internal, like, oh no, our city's better, no, our city's better. It's just an interesting fact because people go to St. Petersburg and they are blown away, and it is absolutely stunning. There's no doubt about it. All I want to point out is, look at when Moscow was founded in 1147. That's an old city, hey? Whereas St. Petersburg was founded in 1703. I rest my case. So now, but it is beautiful. Right, so there we are. We have the 4 rings. That's just a bit of background, and it's pretty obvious that that's how it developed. And oh, that was such a pretty picture of the river. Oh, does it just immediately go over? Does the map just immediately go over it? You see, that's the Kremlin in the background. That's where Putin resides. And then behind it, you'll see the churches. And a Kremlin is basically, it's a fortress. So lots of cities have Kremlins, so it's not unique to Moscow. And the walks along the river is just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. Right, so let's see the map with the, this is the hotels. So that's the Four Seasons, as you can see, right outside Red Square. I mean, the top hotels are all centered around Red Square because that's where tourists want to go. And then Arbat is the one that you'll be using, which I said to you is in the very old, quaint area of Moscow. It was traditionally the tourist area, but it's charming. The Golden Ring Hotel is slightly out. It's very, very modern, and but it's right next to the metro. And tourists love the metro once they get over it. You know that, oh my God, you know, we're going on a metro. It's fabulous. The Savoy is a privately owned hotel right next to the Bolshoi Theatre. It's one of my favorites. It's very boutiquey, very, very nice. And then we have the Metropole. I don't know if any of you have read A Gentleman in Moscow. I would highly, highly recommend it. The entire book takes place in the Hotel Metropole. And it's quite, it gives you a whole insight, yeah. There's the Ararat, the Park Hyatt, which, can I say, it's a Hyatt, it's fabulous, rooftops, you know, beautiful views over the Kremlin and Red Square. And there you go, there's Red Square. And what else comes next? That's the Kremlin, which is the walls. Novodevichy Convent, that is a must. A lot of people want to go there. A lot of important people were buried there. People are obsessed with burial places. I mean, there were a lot of important people in Russia, so they like to go and see where they're buried. The new Tretyakov Gallery is right on the river, as you can see by Gorky Park, and the gallery there is phenomenal, and artists will want to go there for sure, because they changed the exhibitions. And then there's the old Tretyakov. That area is very funky. It's like I'd say like Soho, but you know, very, very arty to walk along there. Lots of jazz cafes and just slightly off the tourist beat. Then the Bolshoi Theatre, which I already pointed out, the building there with a green roof. That doesn't have a green roof, by the way. Now the Leningradsky station, that's where the train station goes to St. Petersburg. So it's called Leningradsky because it's going to Leningrad, which of course is now St. Petersburg. And then we have the St. Basil's Cathedral, yeah, which is a beautiful, colorful one with onion domes, and the Cathedral of Christ the Savior. That is the biggest church in Moscow. And if we can pause it there for a second, just for an anecdote, that church was destroyed by Stalin. There was a church there because, you know, the churches all closed down, communism, and it was broken, completely razed to the ground. And they tried to build a swimming pool there. They tried to replace it with various things, but the people of Moscow, and I mean, Vitaly, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think maybe I sometimes romanticize it a little bit, but anyway, so the people of Moscow did not support this because they were outraged that the church had been destroyed, and it was nothing happened there. And then, you know, perestroika happened, and I'm not going to go into the whole politics, but I think you all know about the oligarchs of Russia, and there's all this mystery of how they actually came into this money. It's a very simple story, but I won't go into that now. And they escaped tax. So Putin, I think there were about 10 of them, called them to tea, which is what Stalin did, by the way, with some people that he wanted to get rid of. It's all very, grim. And he got them around the table and he said, look, I don't know how much money you stole. So I can't tax you enough. He said, but what I will do is you are going to rebuild this church, the 10 of you or the 8 of you, whatever it is. And you're going to draw, and you're going to do a mini version underground, and it's all going to be laden with gold and gilt. And that's what he did. So there's the story that church was rebuilt by the the oligarchs' money, who weren't paying tax. So it is modern, it's new, it's magnificent, absolutely magnificent. And that comes into one of the day tours, which takes in not all the churches, but a variety of churches in Moscow. It's fascinating stuff. Some of them are very, very old. So that's that. And Pavletsky station. So that's the station. You can see it's a little bit further out, which is where you're coming from Domodedovo Airport. So that's why you'll need a transfer from there to get into the center. Oh, and the cosmonautics, I love that museum. I didn't think I would because I don't know anything about this stuff, but you know, I have to do it. And it was fascinating. And so, you know, they say politics don't exist in space, and it really doesn't. It's so, it's about intelligence and working together. And yes, of course, there was the race to get into space first, and Russia did win, but it just how they work together up there, and yeah, it's everybody helps each other. And they've got the one dog, you know, because they did send a few dogs up. One doggy that went and came back, Sputnik, and he's there. He's just so, yeah, he survived the journey, and so they've preserved him. So yeah, he's there. But fascinating. If anybody is interested in space, it definitely a little morning trip. Yeah, I think you can cover it off in a morning. Tolstoy Museum. Yeah, there's one of the most famous writers, and that's again within walking distance. And it's his home, it's his city home. He has another home outside Moscow where he actually wrote War and Peace. And you can go to that. Again, it's a day trip. I think an overnight is better. And you can walk around his estate and see his apple orchard, which his grandfather planted. There's all those little things I find so fascinating, so normal. It's like a farm. And there are these gnarled little apple trees, and you think, good God, that his grandfather planted those. You know, it just puts a perspective on it. He fell out with the church. So his grave is in the forest just behind the house. And you can walk there, and there's nothing to stop you. You can go quite close to it, and it's literally just a mound with grass around it. That's it. No plaque, no nothing. Interesting. What did we just come up now? The icebreaker boat. That's the boat trip, which is great to take that because it's icebreaker. Yeah, it goes in summer and in winter because it's got that, you know, that very sharp bow. So, and what else did you bring up? Oh, Bunker 42. Yeah, I think that's an absolute must. That was a bunker. That is a bunker that they've left just as it is. So if anybody's interested in going to have a look at where you can go and drop bombs thousands of miles away, but it gives you a little sense of the old guard. Yeah. There's a very beautiful picture of the Kremlin, you know, the wall, and with, I don't know how many churches are inside there. I've forgotten. I think it's 7. Do you know, Vitaly?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think that at least 7. But I guess there are 8 of them inside.
And that's inside this was for well, it was the Romanov family, wasn't it? The Tsars. So they had their own churches. They didn't have to leave the Kremlin. And then the importance of the churches are rated by the number of domes. But anyway, that's all the information that you'll transfer from the very good guides. I can't keep it all in. Oh, so there we go. There's the fortress. It's the Grand Kremlin, the complex official residence. And yeah, it was painted white, but now it's in the 19th century went back to red. Yeah, I should wait for the notes, Andrew. Next one. At St. Basil's. This is quite a stunning place. Joanne, did you go?
No, it's not Joanne, it's Angela. I've been.
God,
yes,
Angela, you sound just
Yeah.
like Joe. I'm so sorry, and I can't see you. I'm so sorry.
No
so
problem.
you went to
I did indeed, yes. I did a Russian cruise from Moscow to St. Petersburg.
which boat did you go on?
Oh goodness, I can't remember. It was one of the waterways. I can't remember the name of the boat. It was many years. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't think it was the Volga Dream, because that's the one that we promote, but it's it's a lovely little cruise, that. And yes, did you hear the choir singing, the men's choir?
Yes, I did. Gorgeous.
Stunning, yeah. So there we go. So it was built a very long time ago, and apparently it's built of all these different compartments. So every time, all those domes, it's a small area. So you don't walk into a big church. It's like caves. You go from one into another. So it's quite fascinating. And then you hear these voices, and it just gives you goosebumps. And it's the Russian male voices are something else. It's you've got to go. You really just got to go there to experience that. So there we are. So to resemble a bonfire. Yeah. This is the Bunker 42. So you can see it's quite creepy. So it was built in the 50s, and it was a nuclear shelter, for the first persons. It was sold off, and it's a 3-hour tour, and definitely worthwhile. And this is what the stations look like underground. This is actually a very, it's not the most ornate one, but some Muscovites are too snobbish to go on the tubes. Mr. Dudkin, I think I forced him to go on a tube once on the metro, and he'd never looked up to see all those magnificent paintings and mosaics, and it's just phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So yes, in red, not recommended during peak rush hour, because it copes with quite a few million people a day. So there we go. And that's the cosmonaut. And it's only 1981. There we go. And the churches, I touched on that briefly. So that's also a morning or an afternoon tour, 4 hours. And and now the Golden Ring tour, that's Vitaly. He did that of himself, okay? So Vitaly, are you doing this bit?
Yes, of course. That's my presentation.
Okay. But are you going to talk us through it?
Can I just ensure that you can all hear the sound when I play it?
Hello, my name is Little V, and I'm going to tell you about the Golden Ring in Russia today. The Golden Ring of Russia is a vast area in which all the Russian cities are located in a ring-like arrangement and a well-known theme route. The cities
It just disappeared. It was working.
I'm going to tell you
Is
about
it
the
still
Golden
there?
Ring in Russia.
Yeah, I think you muted yourself,
The
Ange.
Golden Ring of Russia is a vast area in which all the Russian cities are located in a ring-like arrangement and a well-known theme route. The cities are located northeast of Moscow and were the northeastern part of the ancient Russia. These ancient towns, which also played a significant role in the formation of the Russian Orthodox Church, preserve the memory of the most important and significant events in Russian history. The towns have been called open-air museums and feature unique monuments of Russian architecture of the 12th, 18th centuries, including Kremlins, monasteries, cathedrals, and churches. These towns are among the most picturesque in Russia. Vladimir is a city in Russia, the capital of the Vladimir region, located on the left bank of the Klyazma River, 184 kilometers northeast of Moscow. Vladimir is a city with a lot of unique historical and religious attractions. There is the Cathedral of the Assumption, where many great Russian princes were crowned. The cathedral had been founded long before Moscow was formed. After hundreds of years, it has preserved its magnificent appearance and incomparable interior. Many finishing elements of the cathedral have been preserved since the 12th century. The best option to start your Golden Ring journey is to take a speed train from Moscow to Vladimir. Suzdal is an ancient city of Russia. It forms part of the Golden Ring. It is located 200 kilometers from Moscow. It is possible to reach this town from Yaroslavsky railway station in Moscow, visiting Vladimir. Suzdal is a World Heritage Site. In Suzdal, there are no tall buildings to preserve the architecture of the old Russian town. They are prohibited. The air is very clean in Suzdal, as there are no factories there. Perhaps this town is a perfect place to understand and get to know Russia better. It can seem to you that it is possible to meet the real epic heroes from Russian folk tales in Suzdal. Suzdal is an open-air museum.
Is there sound?
Oh, there's
No.
music. Can you hear it?
Yeah,
You need
nah,
to-
nothing.
You need to share your computer
The sound
sound.
of the ancient trading city remained in Kostroma, and its
Thank you.
location right on the shore of such a large river gives it a special light. Kostroma is located 350 kilometers northeast of Moscow. Kostroma was founded in 1152 on the conjunction of Volga and Kostroma rivers by Yuri Dolgoruki. He was the one who founded Moscow also. Approaching towards the ancient city center through, it feels different. As you cross the bridge, coming from the station, you discover an older part of Kostroma, just on the shore of the large Volga River. Kostroma is a truly Russian city that keeps deep historical and religious roots of the Russian culture. This city is mentioned a lot in the books of Russian history, as it had been a significant strategic point during different wars and territory divisions. It is also a place where famous national legends and stories come from. Yaroslavl is an ancient city to the north of Moscow. It was founded in 1010 by Prince Yaroslav the Wise. There is an old beautiful legend about the foundation of Yaroslavl. Yaroslavl has the rich historic past. Yaroslavl is one of the cities of the Golden Ring of Russia. In 2005, Yaroslavl became a member of UNESCO because of its wonderful architecture and rich history.
Angie?
Rostov the Great is an old Russian city. It is a part of the Golden Ring of Russia. The city is located on the bank of Narrow Lake. This lake is one of the oldest lakes in the European part of Russia. The age of the lake is 500,000 years old. It is interesting to know that many years ago, Finno-Ugric tribes lived there. For the first time, Rostov is mentioned in chronicles in 862. Pretty soon, Rostov got the name the Great. It became the center of the Rostov Principality. In Russia, people always loved the pill, but the pill in Rostov the Great is a unique cultural phenomenon. The Rostov pill is ancient melodies that skilled bell ringers played on the 13 bells of the belfry of the Assumption Cathedral. If you visit the city, listen to the peal for sure. Sergiev Posad is a small city 70 kilometers from Moscow. In its 7 centuries of existence, it has become a major Orthodox center, a veritable open-air collection of religious architectural masterpieces. This is the largest monastery in Russia and one of the most famous sites in Moscow and the Golden Ring of cities northeast of Moscow that preserve the memory of the most important and significant events in Russian history. The architectural beauty of the 15th century Trinity Lover of St. Sergius is Moscow region's largest monastery, which inscribed it on UNESCO's World Heritage List. The best option to explore all the cities of the Golden Ring is to take 3 days and 2 nights tour, starting from Moscow, getting to Vladimir by the speed train, overnight at Vladimir. The next day, explore Kostroma and Yaroslavl, overnight at Yaroslavl, and the last day, drive through Rostov and Sergiev Posad and back to Moscow. This tour will bring you lots of impressions. So we are waiting for you in Russia. Thank you for your attention. Bye-bye.
So there we go. Thank you. Thanks, Vitaly. So I hope that's given you a little idea of the Golden Ring. It's not a ring around Moscow. It's a ring outside Moscow to the northeast. There's the Sapsan train, which starts in Moscow for your guys up to St. Petersburg, not Nizhny Novgorod as shown on here. But there you can see just north, you can see Vladimir, and then going up, those are all the towns, villages that Vitaly's just been telling us about. And yeah, and those, some of those are on the river cruise. So you would have been to those, wouldn't you, Anja?
Yes, I definitely did, yes.
So that must have brought back some memories, seeing those pictures.
Absolutely. It's such a beautiful, oh, I love Russia.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That's I think when I come down, we're going to go and have a coffee and get nostalgic.
Definitely.
So this is the Sapsan. So as I say, it's a super, super fast train, 4.5 hours from Moscow. It doesn't stop. Yeah, we put the people on the train in Leningradsky station and they get off in St. Petersburg. And that's what they look like. They've got nice business seats. They've got, well, even the economies, are those economy? I think those could be economy. They, you know, it's all very comfortable, nice restaurant car. If you're in business class, you're served to your seat. You've got free Wi-Fi. Yeah. And there we are, Sankt Peterburg. I wasn't telling fibs, founded in 1703. The place looks European because it's mostly French and Italian architects. It's obviously very flat because it's just surrounded by water. It's known as the Venice of the North. And yeah, there we go. That you all recognize, that is the Hermitage. So it only has a population of 5.5 million. And yeah, it's got all these islands. And yeah, it used to be called Leningrad, which was just changed. And Pulkovo Airport. I don't believe there are flights between St. Petersburg and London yet. They suspended those. So to get to St. Petersburg from London, you need to go via Moscow. And I'm not so sure if you're coming via the Middle East, whether I don't know how you'd route people, but generally people would do Moscow first and then St. Petersburg and then connect home from there. And there you've got the cruise. The one that we promote is the Volga Dream, and that's the similar little map to Moscow. So you can see there's an awful lot of water around, and we'll just point out the main attractions. So Petra Palace, I believe, is one of the hotels that you support, which is, I mean, those obviously we're only doing the central hotels. The Talion is crazy 5-star hotel. I mean, I say crazy, it's just so over the top. It's almost like you need to go and see it to believe it. The Rossi is, what would you say, Vitaly, good 4-star here?
It is a good 4-star hotel. It looks like a boutique hotel.
Yes, yes.
A very good value for money, by the way.
Exactly. The Belmont Grand, well, that's Belmont. What can I tell you? It's fabulous. The most gorgeous stained glass windows in the dining room, just super. The Metro art is very funky. I love it. It's very, very funky, and it's related to an art museum. I think you're going to find a lot of South Africans, the cultured South Africans who go to Russia, who want to go to the ballet, to the theatre, to see art, and there's plenty of it. And we obviously, Vitaly will get the tickets to the opera or to the ballet. Just got to check the schedules. Corinthia Hotel, that's the Nevsky, that long road. That's a bit like the one we were talking about in Moscow, Tverskaya or Oxford Street or whatever. You can see the station at the bottom, and it just runs all the way up to the top to the Hermitage. There's Peterhof. Can you see, Angie, you just got, that's on the top left. So that is a trip on the hydrofoil, because everybody has to go to
on the aisle.
Sorry?
Oh, it's cute. Nice, huh? He said he couldn't hold the tears.
Sorry, was that Chantel? Was that you?
Oh, Godfather, look after her.
I didn't hear that. But did somebody you know who went? Okay.
I just muted. I think somebody was unmuted.
Oh, sorry. Okay, cool. What else have you shown that I missed? Oh, St. Isaac's Cathedral. Yeah, that's the biggest cathedral in St. Petersburg. And Peterhof. What else? Church of the Spilled Blood. That's the very, very famous one. People get confused between that and the one in Moscow because it's very similar with the domes. Yeah, quite a grueling story, which we won't go into right now. Yeah. And the Peter and Paul Fortress, which is on the island there. That's the Neva River. Obviously, you're going to do lots of cruises, and the Hermitage, which is why people go to St. Petersburg, primarily to go and see that art. It's just it's mind-boggling. And the Mikhailovsky Theatre, which is very close to the Belmont. I don't see an arrow there, but it's around the corner from the Belmont. And is the Mariinsky coming up? Oh, there's the Mariinsky and the Museum of Vodka. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, it gives you, we can send you printouts of this because it will help you to just explain to clients how accessible everything is. And again, very flat. That's the Hermitage. I think there's some interesting facts. It's believed that you will need to walk 22 kilometers to see all parts of it. Yeah. Another interesting fact is that there are 50 cats that are employed there just to protect the items from rats and mice. And if you spend a minute looking at each painting on display, you would require 11 years to see them all. Quite amazing. And then this is Peterhof, which is in summer is just magnificent with those fountains. And this was Catherine the Great's, was her summer palace. That's where she went for the summer. And again, yeah, French, based on Versailles. The Neva River, and those bridges only go up in the evening. So it's quite nice to do a boat cruise and then everybody watches. Well, because of traffic, yeah. What is this? Yeah, so it is closed because of the width of the ice. So you need to just check out those. Yeah. And the Fabergé Museum, I think they've brought it to London at the moment. Magnificent eggs. There's a very nice Georgian restaurant right next to it. I think Vitaly, you know, yeah. There you go. Is it more about the museum? Those are interesting facts, you know, except Mondays. And this is the Vodka Museum, which is great fun. And they have a restaurant next door as well. So you can imagine there's an awful lot of vodka that gets consumed. But yeah, interesting, nice little stories I'll tell you about it. And that's it. And that's spasiba, which is thank you. Do we want to, how are we doing for time?
We're doing good. Wow, Norma, I must say, it was like you're telling us a beautiful story of Russia.
Oh,
you were so passionate. It was so beautiful.
Oh, you know, it's very hard because I can't see you. So I can't see if people are eye rolling or sighing or yawning or just.
There we go. Now you can see me.
So, yeah. So I hope it's conveyed a little bit of this romance and just the you know, the intrigue of that place. It's I can't get enough of it, actually. I don't know how many times I've been. I don't know, 12 times. I don't know. I just keep going back.
Absolutely beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. Does anyone have a question for Norma? Any questions?
Especially if you want to ask questions about your, you know, we've got the packages and we could talk about them, but everything that we presented is included in those packages. So rather than day one, you know, come on, you guys, you know how to sell a package. I think it's more important for you to know what you're selling, why are people going there, you know, to get excited about.
Before we let you go, though, I've got one more question. Can you please advise when will Russia accept South Africans' vaccination certificates? Do you have any idea?
I believe they do already. Vitaly?
No, at this moment, that's true. It's a very good question. I'm just reading it in the chat. So yes, at this moment, for Moscow, we have to show, in order to visit any museum, we have to show the certificate. And that's true, they accept only Russian certificates at the moment, but we were advised that it will be, they will accept any other certificates soon, because at this moment, just because of the system, you know, it cannot read any foreign QR codes. It can read only Russian QR codes. And so we were promised that it will be sorted out by the end of the year. And yes, so it's like that, but it will be definitely done because we accept, South Africa accepts Sputnik V, and yeah, it should be accessible for Russian museums. And
but they can enter the country, right?
Yes, they can. They can. They're not requested. They will be requested only PCR test or the certificate. But in order to go inside the museum, they have to show the QR code, which is generated only by Russian system. We've got special soft in cell phones. So that's. I think it's mostly technical problems, at least.
Okay. But we've just got that honeymoon couple there at the moment. So obviously they're not too bothered about the museums. They're just doing all the outdoor stuff and going to restaurants and I mean, Red Square will be fine. You can walk around Red Square. You can walk in Kremlin.
As well. The Radisson River Cruise, absolutely fine. So almost all the stuff except museums at this moment is okay.
Okay. Is that okay, Philippa?
Yes, I think that's it. And then one last question. In your opinion, when would be the best time to actually visit Russia?
Is that was the question from Karen?
Yes, from Karen, yeah.
Well, I like the way she did serious travel. I like that, because obviously they're not just bothered about seeing the sunshine. That's the wonderful thing being South African. You don't need sunshine. You know, you want to see what the culture has in store. And what is, how many days? I would definitely say minimum 3 days, 4 nights, you know, because you lose a day. So 3 nights is too little. I'd say 4 nights, 3 days in Moscow, and the same in St. Petersburg. So basically, you can't go for less than a week, 7 nights, 8 nights. It's just not worth it. It's like sending someone on safari for 1 night. It's just pointless. So people will be frustrated. And the best time to go, well, personally, I love going when it's winter. They're incredibly well equipped. South Africans are very badly equipped when it comes to winter clothes, because what they do is they put on layers and they put on thermals, and it's like, no. You put on very light clothes, but then you have a huge thick coat, you have thick socks, and you have a hat. And then as soon as you go in a building, you take that big coat off, and then you literally have these thin little layers, just a shirt or whatever. Otherwise, they get so uncomfortable because they've now got 6 jumpers on and 6. You don't need any of that, but you need the thick coat, and you will absolutely love it, because it's not about the weather, it's what you wear. It is so beautiful. It's not overrun with tourists. The summer, anytime from May onwards, you know, it's like going to the Tower of London in June. You know you're going to queue, you know you're going to have all those group tours coming from all over the world. And if it's an FIT serious traveler, no, go off season. Totally, that's my advice. Go for the winter, or otherwise go April or September, October. I did the Siberian train during September. It was absolutely magnificent, just blue skies, chill in the air, but you know, you have the energy to go and see all the museums, and yeah, go to the shows, definitely go to the ballets. I think people will want to go to the Bolshoi. It's an experience that, you know, if you're going to go to Moscow, you want to be able to say you went there. So maybe work it around when you know, the season starts, rather than first booking the flights and then realizing, oh, oops, but it's closed, because it does close in July, August, so and some other months. So you need to just, the same as Covent Garden here, you know, just double check it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you once again so much for your time. It was absolutely beautiful. Like I said, it was like telling a story. I imagine myself being there.
Oh, well, I think we need to organize a little fan, don't you?
Now you're talking. Thank you. Beautiful presentation, and the way you told the story about Russia, it was absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Vitaly. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. And we hope that the bookings will definitely start rolling in, and yeah, and have people coming through.
Well, thank you guys. I mean,
Russia.
It's lovely to see so many of you attending. So thank you very much. Yeah.
And thank you for your time as well, and for sharing the experiences with us.
You're very, very pajasta. You're very welcome.
Brilliant.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
That's
have yourself a
bad.
beautiful day further, and have a great weekend.
And
See you soon. Take care.
До свидания. До свидания.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.